It is the Redhawks Coaches Show, and we are at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, their brand new banquet room, which is you go in the front entrance, or you head to the front entrance of Wings here in Cape. Just hang a right. It's right around the corner, and we saved you a seat for lunch. And at Wings Etc., they have a lot of things on the menu. In fact, over 70 menu items that are not their delicious, award-winning jumbo wings, and that includes their really big and deep burger menu. All sorts of different burgers. Trust me, you can find a burger that you're going to love on the Wings Etc. menu. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. If you're in the mood for an appetizer, they have their ultimate nachos, which are massive, and their spicy deep-fried pickled chips. If you're coming for lunch, their half-pound lunch specials start at just $9.99. And if you can make it out to Wings, you can get it delivered, and that is through the Wings Etc. loyalty app. It's a free download. You can set up your information and only take you a few minutes. Every time you order something through the rewards loyalty app, you get rewards points, and that will go towards free food, and you get it delivered right through the Wings Etc. loyalty app. But we invite you to come out and enjoy the atmosphere. That's the best part about Wings Etc. Good food, great times, home of the Redhawks Coaches Show. Coach Tom Tuke is here. Malai Walton, 14 tackles on Saturday. Played his 39th game in a Redhawk jersey. Malai Walton is here. We'll be talking with him, and Coach Tom Tuke is here. How are things, Coach? The sun is out.
Well, I didn't know if it would, but it did show up on Sunday, and, I was just kind of reminded as I was driving over here that today's Veterans Day, and, certainly puts a lot of things in perspective, right? You're all in your feelings about a really tough loss, and but then you sit in a day that you should be recognizing and appreciate all the people that have sacrificed so much for our freedoms. And, at the end of the day, we got to respond. That was probably at least a top 5 loss for me, but it's not the worst loss I've ever had. As a program, I would say 2018 was probably the toughest loss to Murray.
Murray State.
Kind of had that thing there, lost it, ended up losing a championship, but after that game, won a playoff game, and so really appreciate how 2018 responded, and that's what we got to do. It's a tough, this is really our first big adversity that we've hit as a team, right? And we spend so much time on culture and trust and all the things that are in team building, and it's for these exact reasons, because really when adversity hits a family, when adversity hits a team, it really has two ways to go. If you have poor trust or poor culture in a team, what happens? Man, it is just it falls apart. Everybody starts pointing at each other and all that. But really, when you hit adversity and you have, great relationships, great trust, great bonds, what happens is it kind of galvanizes you, and some adversity could propel you and be the reason why you go on a winning streak here. And so that's what we got to try to turn this into. But it's tough. There's a lot of players that this is really the first time something's bad's happened to them. You think about Peyton Brown, you think about Tristan Smith, it's all been good. Well, when something bad happens, it's part of just being a mature competitor and not staying stuck in it. If you are playing this game at a high level long enough, you will have bad plays, bad series, and even, bad games, but the great ones they're able to get themselves out of that doom loop mentally, right, and focused into a productive mindset and move forward. And that's what my job is, and we got to move forward. I think at the end of the day, what we have to do is hit the pause button, understand what happened, why it happened, and then ask ourselves, what can we do about it? We lost as a team. Special teams, we line up for a pooch punt, they get the ball on 25. Can't happen. They line up for a pooch punt, we get the ball on the 6-inch line. right? We had bad field position all day. Defensively, I thought it was a solid performance, except we gave up 4 plays over 20 yards, and 2 of those were touchdowns. And then on offense, we couldn't and didn't run the ball. There was just a lack of execution. We tried to throw our way out of the situation, and it never worked. And at the end of the day, we weren't executing at a high enough level to get going in that game with the weather that it was. So got to do a better job. We got to coach better. Tuesday was a driving rainstorm. And we go out and we practice, and it was a bad day. Offensively, we didn't move it, turn it over 6 times. And so we either should have pivoted, knew we couldn't run the ball or throw the ball, or we should have worked, rain ball drills all week long and all those type of things. So coaching-wise, that's on me, and I just got to do a better job and stay focused and locked in. But turn the page, 24 hours. All right, now it's about Western Illinois, but we just got to make sure that we don't have those same. We kind of learn our lessons. We don't want to repeat these things and end up dropping another game. Because at the end of the day, we got to win out. There are no margins. We win out, we'll be the champions, and that's always been the mission.
So the polls have come out. You're 13 in the coaches poll, 12 in the media poll after the loss, and Western Illinois will come to Hawk Stadium. You faced adversity early in that game against Lindenwood. Everybody was excited to see Peyton Brown back in there after missing 5 weeks with a high ankle, and lost the football. It was a good tackle. We saw the replay. I mean, he guy hit it either with his helmet or his shoulder pad. Ball popped out. So you face adversity immediately, and then your defense steps up, and all of a sudden, it was one of those scenarios where you block a field goal. You don't give up a touchdown. It's a short field. Easily they could have gone down and scored a touchdown. You hold them to a field goal attempt. Then you block it, and Ty Leonard picks it up and runs it back into their territory.
Yeah, that was a really tough way to start. That's the first time I've taken the ball. I've always deferred. I took the ball because the forecast said it was going to rain a lot more in the second half than the first half. So having an extra possession in the first half made sense. We go out there, and that's not how we wanted it. That's not how we thought it was going to happen, but it did. And so defensively, to go out there, 3 and out them, then block a field goal, then return it there is exactly what they should do, is respond just like that. And so I felt great, at that point. I was like, hey, that's a great job responding. Couldn't have started any worse, but good job defense, no harm.
And I could not. Boy, we even looked at the replay. They didn't show it enough times, but I couldn't tell who blocked the field goal. Who was it?
It was actually their left guard. So we had pushed him so far back that it ticked off his helmet.
How about that?
Yeah. And then good pressure by the guys up front. They did a nice job of getting pressure. He kind of kicks a low ball, and so I think that was something we talked about, all week.
And, he's all conference. He's one of the best kickers in the league. You've got the top 2 kickers in the league in that game in terms of made field goals. It's DC and it's Seibert.
Yeah, and really, I'm glad you brought up DC, because I've kind of been hard on DC in lots of things, and it's because I love him, and I thought he could be a lot better in lots of areas of his life. And Tuesday, that same rainstorm, he went out and hit 8 for 8.
Wow.
On Tuesday practice, and you know how kickers are and everybody else, he's going to blame the holder, the snapper, everybody's going to get into this big thing, and they didn't. Like, they come out and they were locked in and performed really well on Tuesday, and then that's what happened on Saturday. Was he, I don't know what the long one was that he hit. Was it
47, I think.
Yeah, was it 47?
Let me see.
But he hit all his field goals.
39 and 47.
Yeah, and that 47 was out there, and just really proud of him. Happy he's a Red Hawk. Happy that all his hard work and dedication is paying off.
So we saw Peyton Brown limp out of the game, and he did not return. Was it an aggravation of the same thing, or was it something else?
No, same thing. So not sure. We haven't got a report yet how he's feeling today. And so, we just got to keep working with him. And, it's just a tough situation. And that's what I'm talking about, responding. That's not what he wanted. I know he's going to feel upset that now he's on top of retweaked it and all the stuff. And you got to process it, and you just got to right foot, left foot through the storm. There's nothing I can tell you. Your parents could tell you, like, it's just right, left through the storm, and eventually you're going to get back to the Peyton Brown that you used to be.
And so that meant we would get to see Daryl Smith. Yeah. We haven't seen Daryl Smith in several weeks because of a hamstring injury. He's out there returning kicks, and he was your leading rusher in the game. 9 carries, 37 yards, had an 11-yard run. Great to see him back, because there's a guy that can really help you in the running game.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty over 200 pounds, got a nice gear, catches the ball well. Had a nice catch and run also. And so he's definitely a guy that we got to get going. We only ended up rushing it like 16 times, and that can't happen. We got to do a better job of running the ball, especially when passing isn't working. And so we need to give him more opportunities. And our O-line's inconsistent, but it's not like, it's just 4 of the 5 are doing well. It's just one block here, one block here. It's starting to get there if we can continue to just be patient with our run game, and keep these guys fighting. I think eventually we can end this year, with some decent run game.
So there were a couple of big drop passes. There was one over the middle that Paxton threw, and it surely appeared if he catches it, that's going for a touchdown. That is a touchdown. And then when you're on the 6-inch line, he threw one down the left sideline that was there, would have gotten you out of the bad situation that you were in. Just didn't work. How slick was the football on Saturday?
Yeah, it affected it, and that's why it was just a tough situation, because that was one of our biggest advantages, right? We could throw and catch better than most of our opponents, but when it's a rain situation like that, now it's equalized things. Their corners can get hands on you a lot better. Just all the things tilted to their favor, and it happens, and so we just got to respond. It's like Tristan Smith. Tristan is a young player, first year of having a lot of success, and he's never really had really bad plays happen to him like happened on Saturday, and so he's got to be able to process it and work through it and know that we still believe in him, and he's still going to go out there. He's still going to make plays, and you just got to work through it.
So I would think, I don't know if you ever, after the game, you look at your phone and people text you during the game as if you're going to respond to it. But I did get a couple of texts while we were doing the broadcast in the game, and they were like, boy, does it seem like the Redhawks have low energy in this game? I got 2 texts about that, and obviously I'm not going to text anybody, while we're broadcasting a football game. What did you think of the energy level for your team? Because you were on the sideline.
Yeah, we talked about it as a staff. I think what happened is we didn't make the plays to keep the energy going. We started well. There was great energy on some plays early, but we just struggled all game long. So, eventually you're going to have to make a play down the field. You're going to have to get a big play to get the sideline back. And so I think the problem was it was just too tough a day. And we talked about this going into the game. The longer you keep Lindenwood in it, their belief, their energy is going to, keep going. And they were making plays, on defense and creating a lot of energy for their sideline. So I think it was just the opposite. It was because, that sideline was making plays and ours wasn't.
I think the thing that impressed me the most about Lindenwood's defense was it just did not look like the Red Hawk wide receivers were able to get much separation in the football game. And specifically, I thought they did a good job taking Dorian Anderson away from you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you got to give credit to Lindenwood, their coaches. They had a great plan. The kids executed the plan and beat us soundly, especially on offense. You know, they, without a doubt, played way better than we did, coached way better than we coached. I mean, you give them credit.
And the first game all year that Paxton DeLauren did not throw a touchdown. He did run for a touchdown. That was that was the lone time you made the end zone.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was tough sledding. Happy that he was able to make some plays with his feet. I think in that 2-minute drive, I don't know what it was, but third and maybe 14, 15, he slid right before the chains. So now it's 4th and 1. Then we have a procedure penalty. Now it's 4th and 6.
Right.
Just the stuff that climbs. One Achilles heel that we've had is just the not playing as smart as we could. Several penalties went against us that hurt. It was inconsistent. There's a couple calls in there that you were pretty disappointed with, but still the false starts. We had 3 false starts. That's coaching. All right, that's players' discipline, and so we got to address that this week.
Something else that I don't think people talk a whole lot about is, Paxton is the greatest statistical passer SEMO's ever had. I mean, he's phenomenal. But early in his career, his legs were a weapon, man. I mean, he would hurt defenses. He would run for touchdowns. He would run for first downs. He wasn't a guy that if all of a sudden he didn't see that it was there, he'd take off and run.
Right.
Not one of those guys, but he extends plays, and he still does that. But now you don't see him really. Now you mentioned the play where he ran and slid, and he did rush for a touchdown in the football game. But he's a different player now, and that's strictly because of the injury.
Right, no doubt. And you saw what Lindenwood's offense was able to do with a quarterback that they were willing to run. And those guys, he took a lot of big hits and stuff like that. And they're just playing to win a game. They're not trying to win a championship over 10 games. So it's a different situation that. If their quarterback got hurt, it was about this game. Where ours is about this season and keeping him healthy for every game.
Because the last 2 seasons he has not been healthy for every game. And, their quarterback, Nate Glantz, threw 2 touchdowns. One was just a little toss on a jet sweep, but it counts as a touchdown pass to their star receiver, Caldwell. But a dual threat quarterback, and that's what you're going to see on Saturday with Western Illinois. Only Western Illinois' quarterback, Nate Lamb, is better than Lindenwood's quarterback.
Yeah, I would say statistically this is the best quarterback we'll face all year long. He completes 65% of his balls. He's only thrown 4 picks, and they throw it. And I think he's like 238, 240, so he's a hard guy to sack, and he's quick enough to be elusive in the pocket and take off on you. But they'll also have design runs. So again, it's not about their season; they're just trying to win a game. So they're willing to run their quarterback way more than we are, and that makes them difficult to defend.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Western Illinois coming up. On the defensive side of the football, we mentioned the game Malai Walton had. We'll talk more about Malai Walton before we talk with him. He is here. We'll get to talk with the former Patriot from his days in high school. But for the 3rd time this year, Coach, Bryce Norman has been named the Big South OVC Defensive Player of the Week. Now, remember, he's the preseason Defensive Player of the Year. And if he doesn't win that award at the end of the year, there needs to be a federal investigation. But it's 19 tackles, it's 3 behind the line of scrimmage, and it's 2 sacks. And both sacks came on the same drive for Lindenwood. 19 tackles. He's had a lot of big tackle games. That's a career high for Bryce Norman.
Okay, so it was a career high. I didn't realize that. Obviously they're running the ball, basic exclusively. And so, of course, linebackers are going to make a lot more tackles because they're a lot more involved. But just the impact in a game, getting behind the chains with the TFLs, the sacks. We ended up with 5 sacks, which is great by our defense also. He had 3 of them. They moved the pocket quite a bit, so we were bringing him out of coverage. Coach Bonato's done a great job of I believe both sacks were off a sprint out or a rollout, and so taking him out of coverage as soon as he sees it and goes back there. So nice job by him. Just another steady game, man. You just worry about him holding up. I don't know how many plays he's played as a Red Hawk, but it is astronomical. I mean, he has played a lot of snaps.
Now, we've got binoculars up in the box. I have to have binoculars, and we did see him leave the game holding his elbow at one stretch, but he was right back in there. But I did see him. It looked like he got a little banged up, at least at that stretch of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. And, he's an undersized guy as it is, so it's just so impressive how consistent he is and just his makeup to be able to hold up with all of the hits and tackles that he's made.
Sam Cook, 7 tackles, 2 sacks. You have 5 sacks in the football game. So Cook made an impact. And I know when you recruited him from Western Illinois, I mean, he'll be fired up to play the Leathernecks this Saturday. When you recruited him, you felt like you were bringing in somebody that could affect the quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt, and super proud of him. He had a rough fall camp. He had a full body cramp in June or in July, or maybe it was in the 1st of August, but ended up missing 10 practices in fall camp, which is like 2 weeks.
Now explain to us, what is a full body cramp?
Well, it used to not mean what it means now.
Okay.
What it means now is all of a sudden we got rhabdo and we have to shut him down, and I mean it's just a really tough injury to have that didn't exist when I played or coached even 20 years ago. And so that happened. Then when he was coming back, he was doing a drill on a sled and ended up slicing his finger, then missed a couple more games. And then had to play with it all wrapped up, which as a D end is terrible, right? Because you can't get off blocks. So this is, I believe, only the 3rd game he's played without a cast. And so he's kind of coming on, is my point. And he didn't let those things frustrate him. He's, came to work every day, kept a great attitude, and kept right foot, left foot, and then all of a sudden he shows up with a 2-sack game, lots of TFLs, very violent in the run game. A really, really good game.
McCoy Casey also had a sack in the game, 2 tackles for losses. He forced a fumble. You forced 2 fumbles in the football game, but McCoy Casey, 8 tackles. He was heavily involved again. He is a guy that makes a lot of things happen out there.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of under the radar. You don't really all of a sudden these big plays or whatever, but when you get done with a game and you look at how productive he is affecting the game a lot. He was a really, really good pickup for us in the offseason.
And we've had him on the show. The injury situation, now you said you thought you were going to get 2 back. You could get as many as 5. We know you got 2 back, and they were Darrell Smith and Peyton Brown. How many guys did you get back for that game?
Just those 2.
Okay. Are you optimistic that maybe there'll be a Red Hawk or 2 available come Saturday?
Yeah, could be. We ended up losing Tico towards the end of the game.
Kalani Riddick.
Yeah, so our boundary safety. So, he's up in the air whether he goes this weekend. So we're kind of still dealing with the same issues.
And that's a multi-level loss with Riddick. Right. He's your 2nd leading tackler, and he's the number 1 punt returner in the league. You had to put a freshman out there, Jaquez Wyatt. that ball that rolled by him that went to the 6-inch line. I don't know, how difficult it is to get to that ball for 8. I don't know any of that, but you've got a guy in terms of game experience doesn't have a whole lot of it.
Right. No, it's really all of our injuries have really affected special teams. It really has. Guys that wouldn't be playing now are playing a lot more, and so we've just we got to continue to get some of those freshmen like Wyatt and all these other guys to not play like first-year players. We got to try to get them to play like second-year players. And they need to play some, and they have, and we got to get them to take that next step this weekend.
All right, so you're going to play a defense that just gave up 220 rushing yards to Tennessee State in Western Illinois. Are there some things that you see where, hey, I think we're going to be able to run the football on Saturday?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, I would have said we'd have run it on Lindenwood. So, I mean, the thing you can't do is start talking about other people and other scores and Lindenwood and Western Illinois. We need to talk about ourselves. We need to talk about what we're good at up front and how do we get them executing at a high level. How do we get Darryl or whoever the freshest running back, how do we get him with the ball in the second level? Because if we can get it to the second level, that's where chunk yardage starts hopping up. And so we got to win the line of scrimmage, and it doesn't matter who we're playing and what they're doing. Like, I want the focus on us, and going to be very involved and the number one issue facing the Redhawks. If we're going to make a run in the playoffs, I mean, we'll be one and done if we can't run it. And, certainly any top 25 team is going to make you, play left-handed. If it's that, you have no balance, you're going to struggle moving the ball on offense. And so we got to get that solved, and that's our job. That's my job as the head coach.
So your offensive line, from what you saw, how did they grade out in terms of run blocking? How did they grade out in terms of pass blocking? Because you can have a great day pass blocking, doesn't mean that you had a good day run blocking, or vice versa. What did you see on Saturday from the O-line, which involves a couple of freshmen?
I mean, we scored 12 points and we had like 230 yards of offense. So, I mean, would you grade anybody good? I'd give me an F and them a D. So, I mean, we got to work cut out for us, but it's not because they can't do it. It's my point. So, that's my job. That's our job, and we're gonna get her fixed.
Boy, how much of a factor do you think the weather was in the game? I know it's easy to say, hey, both teams had to play in the exact same conditions. You think it affected your guys?
Well, our team's a different team than their team.
Right.
Their team was the leading rushing offense. Like, this was, if they got to pick the weather and I got to pick the weather, what do you think it would be like? Right. And so the advantage goes to that type of team, but the lesson is what? Right. You have to build a balanced, you got to be able to, drive it with your right hand and drive it with your left hand. You can't just act like we're going to throw the ball over on everybody, because weather could hurt you, wind could hurt you, or they just be that talented in the secondary, and we need to be able to run the ball,
Now, for those who don't know, and you briefly mentioned it, you guys go through wet ball drills. I mean, you plan ahead. You saw the weather forecast, way before you got up to Saturday. First of all, talk about what it was like trying to practice in that rainstorm on Tuesday, and then what you do when you run wet football drills. Give us the mechanics for the fans that may not know.
Yeah, it was a great advantage to have a wet day on Tuesday, because sometimes the weather's not there for you. You're going to have to play it on Saturday, but it's sunny during the week. But we got to go out and practice Tuesday. We didn't change anything. It made us operate in that, and we didn't handle it well. Mentally, we didn't handle it well. Physically, we didn't handle it well. And so we probably should have pivoted to try to create a little more of the 4-minute offense options, a little more 12 personnel that, we got who we got, and they didn't perform well on that. How much better are you going to get them through the week? when it was obvious we weren't performing well in the rain. And so that was the regret I had. And then what you do on, if you're going to have a Saturday that's rough, it's not just the offense. Like it's snap, hole, kick. There's a lot of special teams, the punters catching a wet ball. Even our snaps were to the left and right a little bit more than they have been, which threw him off a little bit. It just, it's tough because you practice a good ball most of the time, right? You don't practice a lot of the bad balls, and so it affected us.
Is it as simple as buckets of water and you're dunking the football?
Yeah, a little bit, but also, you're just trying to, right before snap, put water on it. One of our punts, that pooch punt, was out of a timeout, and they had set the ball out there forever. Where normally
they were inconsistent with the towel. I thought
so
we were watching that. Rick Weezer, for 30 years, has been a high school official, football official. He pays attention to all that stuff. He was watching the ball. He was a little disappointed how inconsistent they were at
and
trying
they don't get
to
a lot of reps at
keep
it either.
The ball. Yeah.
Right, so it's just one of those things, But ultimately, the people in the mirror, that's who lost that game. It wasn't the weather, it wasn't Lindenwood. We lost that game, and we need to understand why, and then ask ourselves what can we do about it, get fixed, and not stay there, right, and move on.
One thing you said last week, you were going to give your players a little time off because you said, I think sometimes people confuse activity with progress. What did you think? Do you think
activity with accomplishment?
Okay, with accomplishment. What did you think about the?
I mean, we didn't play well, but I would say it wasn't like the whole team. So I'm not sure. Traditionally, we've played pretty good all out of bye weeks.
Against SIU, played great.
Yeah, and Northwestern State. I forget who we had in 23, but as we look at it, I don't like just guessing and saying and all these things. Like what are the definite learning opportunities, and then move forward. There's no sense in trying to figure out who to blame or what to blame. We need to figure out what happened and what can we do about it.
I just know that you are very introspective about everything, and so I just wondered if you went back and looked at it.
We did. We did, and you talk about the energy and all those type of things, but I think we were ready to play. I think those type of things. It was, more of the other stuff we've already talked about.
There was a lot of chatter toward the end of that football game, including their wide receiver Caldwell was taunting the Red Hawk fans over there, and there were a lot of them that came out even with bad weather, right? Yep,
no doubt they came out, and that's probably you just feel bad for them. They came out to see the Red Hawks win and play well, and we didn't, and so totally disappointed about that, but very thankful that they came out. I am going to give our team the business a little bit that, they do a kneel down. We had a D lineman charge it when the game's over, and we had several guys not shake their hand. At the end of the day, that's what a mature man does, right? Like, what, are you going to be mad at them because they beat you? You go take your lesson. They beat us. You go shake that man's hand. You tell him good luck. Now, you can be pissed and can't wait to play him next year, no problem. But we're not just going to walk off the field without shaking hands, and we're not going to, do things because we, don't have our emotions in check, and then all of a sudden, you do something like that on a kneel down.
So it was senior day for them, and boy, I think guys can get extra energy for that. You'll find that out on Saturday. It's going to be senior day for your guys.
No doubt. I think we got 15-ish that'll, play their last game at Houck. Man, I can't believe it. That's why I was excited about bringing Malai. He's a senior that's played a lot of football along with a lot of other guys. That it's kind of surreal that we're coming to the end of this thing. Every season of life, has an expiration date. 2024, how long is it going to last? We know it's going to end at some point, and we need to really appreciate that. And most importantly, send these seniors out with a win, right? Like, they've done so much that, having a loss to Western Illinois at Houck would not sit well with Norman and Mali and, Paxton and all these guys. And so the rest of us underclassmen and coaches need to make sure we have one of our best weeks practicing.
How about the recruiting story for Mali Walton, Coach? He just played his 39th career game from Parkway South High School in St. Louis, and we'll talk to him about it. In addition to playing defense, he also was a punter. He was a kicker in high school. You don't see that very much for a guy who is a Tasmanian devil type on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, he's really unique. His high school coach I knew well, so we never watched him play live. And really, his recruiting was just between me and the head coach. So the head coach calls me about him, says, "Hey, I'm telling you, I trusted him." And so we ended up taking him kind of blind. Because
how often does that happen?
Once every couple of years, but he's never came that hard to me before on a different kid or any other kid, so I knew to listen. And then obviously I watched his film and liked him and all that, but once I started to get to know him, I loved him. He's got a beautiful mom. His sister goes to school here, younger sister. He's kind of the man of the house. He is a legitimate, really good dude. Like, he cares about his teammates. He cares about his sister and his mom, and he's there for them. And he's a low-key, great soccer player. So he actually went overseas, and he could tell his story. But I think maybe his 8th grade year. Was it 8th grade year? But went overseas to compete for some cup. I don't know what they do over there. But you're probably pretty good if you're going over competing for something they call a cup, right? And so he's really athletic. People, you say, like, he's a linebacker and he looks like this, but he's really could be a tailback. In fact, we've given him the ball. He's really, really athletic.
I can't remember what team it was, but he showed his athleticism on that diving interception he made. I can't remember who that was against. And I was like, wow. Yeah. You got to be an athlete to make that play.
Was it EIU? It was Lindenwood last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
what about this year? Don't you have it?
Yeah. Where's your
pick this year?
Lindenwood. Yeah.
Okay.
But so anyway, interesting story. He's also he's probably going to live to be 150. He doesn't get excited about too much. Now, early in his career, I thought I was going to have to hook up a battery to his nipples to get him started. But he's just kind of a low-key, laid-back guy, but now it's fine because he's good. But back early when he's proving himself, I'm like, "Hey, bro, you're going to have to give me a little more than that today. I feel like I want to take a nap when I watch you." But so happy for his career and the man that he's becoming.
All right. You will readily rate your players' beard game, and you will rate their hair game.
Yeah.
And when you see Mali, the obvious question is, how do you rate his hair game?
Big time. Hopefully he's gonna give me his hair. So he's gonna go corporate. He's been working for Target. Eventually he's gonna leave college, right? And he's gonna start this, and he's gonna give me his hair on I'm gonna wear it in a little whatever they call it, like a headdress.
And you've run this by Miss Lena?
No.
Okay.
No. But Mali and I got a plan, so that's the only thing that matters.
All right.
He's got a big head, too. If you look at him, man, it's like, no wonder he could hit you. He's running with like a 12-gallon head.
All right. Well, we'll see what size hat Mali wears when we come back to verify what Coach thinks. Mali Walton going to join us when we come back. Don't forget, final home game, 1 o'clock, the Leathernecks from Western Illinois. Do you know who has the #1 total offense? They get more yardage than any offense in the league per game. the Leathernecks. SEMO is second. So you got the top two offenses and the top two quarterbacks statistically in terms of total offense going at each other on Saturday. Should be a fun day, senior day. Malai Walton joins us at Wings Etc. on the Coaches Show after this timeout on SEMO ESPN. Welcome back. The Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. Hey, have you downloaded the Wings Etc. loyalty app yet? Well, you better get on it. It's free, and it'll just take you a couple of minutes to set up your account, and that way you can earn points for all of your purchases through the app, and that includes delivery of the delicious Wings Etc. menu, and once again, over 70 menu items that are not their award-winning jumbo wings, including their very awesome freshly made burger menu and their half-pound lunch specials, just $9.99. Of course, you can't walk into Wings and walk 5 feet without seeing a flat-screen TV with the best sports programming, including the NFL ticket. They've got all of the Red Hawk games on Saturdays during game day, including basketball. Red Hawks men and women's team were in action yesterday. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week. They have a terrific kids menu, and they're open 7 days a week, open late on the weekends because the games oftentimes run late in Cape Girardeau, Jackson, and Dexter. Wings, etc., home of the Coaches Show. Let's talk it over now with Malai Walton, senior linebacker for Southeast Missouri State. How are things?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. And so let's talk about your soccer background, because I talked about at Parkway South, you were also a kicker and a punter. Did that stem from your soccer days?
Yeah, so I started playing football in second grade and came from soccer, would always bounce back from soccer practice to football practice, so that was pretty natural to always be able to kick the ball. But ever since, obviously soccer was the first sport I started playing, so I was always involved in all the special teams, whether it was kicking, punting, so, yeah.
And tell us about your jaunt overseas that Coach was referring to, Barcelona, is that right?
Yeah, so me and my buddy went to camp in St. Louis, got selected to go overseas, was over there for about 7-8 days, I think, played 4 games over there against Spanish teams, got all practice in all the facilities over there, went to go see a game, met a few of the players, and yeah, it was a really good experience.
Who was the most famous player you met?
Neymar. We got to meet him, take pictures with him. So, and obviously he's still really big right now, but back then he was like a wonder kid, so it was really cool to do that.
So did you think that you had a future playing college soccer, or did you realize that football was going to be your ticket?
I thought that football was going to be my ticket, obviously. I think I chose the right thing, because when I went overseas to play, I kind of realized that if you're not already over there playing at a young age overseas, it's kind of harder to do it from like the American soccer scene. So I decided it was my freshman year of high school, I switched over because it was football, soccer in the same season in the fall. So I had to make a choice, and I made football my main thing.
All right. Who was the first coach to approach you and said, come over here and kick? I want to get a look at you kicking. I want to get a look at you punting.
So it was my coach, Vernetti. He was my second grade head coach's dad. So he was involved in the Arizona Cardinals NFL. I'm not really sure what it was. It was a long time ago, but I remember we were practicing at a field, and he took me over to the goalpost and had me kick and see how it worked out, and it worked out pretty well. So,
did you like kicking in high school?
Yeah, I liked it. It was just something else fun to do, and it was kind of hard at times because I would go down the whole offensive drive, and I had to kick the field goal at the end of it, so it was a little tough.
Jackson's got a guy like that. He's our star wide receiver, and he is also the kicker. Kicks all the PATs, and he had a game a couple of weeks ago where he kicked 3 field goals in one game. Did you get many chances in games to go out there and kick field goals? I'm sure you got plenty of PAT opportunities.
We really weren't a field goal kicking team in high school. We were kind of just kind of go for it every time type of thing, or punt if we were real backed up. But I got a few field goals, actually, a few field goals.
So you played running back on offense, is that right?
A little bit of everything. It was kind of different from each year. I think I started off we ran the triple option veer first.
Wow.
Few. Yeah, my freshman and sophomore year, so I was playing quarterback for that. And then we went more spread. I played a little quarterback, running back, wide receiver. High school, I played about everything besides O-line and corner.
When did you ever come off the field?
I didn't much. So, yeah.
Maybe on a kickoff return, were you still out there?
Not till my senior year, because they kind of wanted to save off that. But most of the kickoffs were through the end zone anyway, so I got a little break on that. I just had to kick it through the end zone.
All right, you just played your 39th game. Senior day will be your 40th Division I game as a Red Hawk. In your freshman year, you were just kind of a special teams guy. Mm-hmm. Guys have to work their way up oftentimes, and Bryce Norman was the same way. He was special teams guy. So you work your way from special teams. How much did you kind of know, hey, if I impress them on special teams, I'm going to get some reps on defense?
Yeah, so Coach Tuke always emphasizes that you got to make it special teams first before you can get on the field. He wants you to make an impact on special teams so he can trust you to play offense or defense. And so a lot of the younger guys or the transfer guys, they got to go through special teams before they can get a chance on offense or defense. So.
Well, I would say with 14 tackles, you had a chance at winning Defensive Player of the Week in the Big South OVC, except for Bryce Norman hogs all the tackles. Yeah. He hogs all the awards.
Yeah, I'm always happy for him, though. Me and him, we've been here at the same time. We've built a lot of chemistry together, so I always like to see him succeed. So he's a good guy.
How important is it to trust the guy you're playing next to, which is Bryce Norman, yeah. And you guys have played next to each other for a heck of a lot of snaps?
Yeah, it makes a big difference, I think, because just like there's some things we don't even have to like communicate on, or we'll go through a play and we just say certain things we know. We don't have to like overthink anything when we're both out there. I feel like it's a good fit to build chemistry out there together. So.
All right, you were on the track and field team at Parkway South. What did you do for the track team?
Yeah, I threw a little javelin. That's about it. But it was fun. I went to do track so I can get faster for football, but the coach kind of just put me on jav, so just threw javelin.
All right, so you find out about you got to have good arm strength to throw the javelin. Did you play baseball growing up? Where throw?
I played baseball. Played in the hot corner with third base. So.
How'd you like that?
I loved it. I loved playing baseball, and during like all the summer ball and all that, that was like probably one of the funnest memories I have during sports. Is like getting around with all those guys and just playing.
When did you decide I'm gonna have to hang up my baseball glove?
It was probably I played my first 2 years in high school, and then that's when like all the spring football, like the 7-on-7 stuff, got real popular. So I switched over to that.
So sometimes people will describe, different sports and what are some of the hardest things to do in sports. Some believe hitting a baseball is absolutely one of the hardest things to do in sports. You played a lot of baseball. Would you tend to agree or disagree?
Yeah, it got a little harder when people weren't just throwing fastballs. So I definitely think it's really hard to do. I couldn't imagine doing it at the pro levels or even at the college level. So, yeah.
How were you on defense at third base? The ball gets on you quickly. Yeah. That's why they call it the hot corner.
I was pretty solid. Had a good arm, too. Played a little outfield, but I love playing third base.
All right, javelin. How much of a different throwing motion is that than maybe throwing a football or throwing a baseball?
It's a lot different. And then when I first started doing it, I was just chucking it no matter what. I had no technique or anything, but the coaches got me right, and I ended up being pretty decent. But the other guys were just a little bit better than me. Had been doing it for a little longer. I was just kind of out there winging it, having fun.
All right, now red is one of the Red Hawk colors, but it's also one of your colors because you are an employee at Target.
Sure am.
So it's red and the khakis, and you're a corporate communications major. How is that tying in?
Yeah, so I've been working at Target. It was actually my first real job I got, and I've been working there since I was 17. So they transferred me down here.
And you just turned 22.
Yeah. Yeah, but they transferred me down here. We were really good with that, and it's a good opportunity to have a job in the off season to make some extra money. So I really like it there, and the people there are always really flexible with me and all the football stuff. So my sister actually works there too, so it's good to have her there sometimes.
My youngest daughter, Josie, she's 16. She got her license now. Her favorite store in the world is Target.
Yeah.
And she loves that dog.
Yeah.
Does the dog have a name? Do we know his name?
I don't think I know his name.
All
I
right.
think that's a little above my pay grade, but
All right.
yeah.
So, in terms of what you want to do, now, do you have your degree or getting your degree?
I'll get my degree in the spring, so.
Fantastic. So, when you get your degree, are you want to stay involved with Target?
Something like that in the business corporate scene. I'd like to do that. I'm going to get an internship in the spring, too, to see kind of where I want to go with it. I know Coach Tuke's going to help me out with that, and then I can always go and ask around, see how I feel about it. But I feel like that's going to be the determining factor about it, is just what I want to do in the future. So.
All right. He described your hair game as strong to quite strong. How long have you had the long dreads?
Well, I haven't been in the barber's chair since I was in 7th grade.
That's what I was going to ask you. When was the last haircut? We got a guy that works at our radio stations. He hadn't had a haircut in about 20-some years.
Yeah.
All the way down his back.
So I've had them for a long, long time. So 7th grade, I don't even know how long that is, but it's a long time.
It sounds like, how much work is it to keep up with everything?
It's quite a lot of work. My sister actually does my hair, so she does it for free. Bless her. I'm really appreciative for that. So she takes care of that for me. It takes she's getting real good at it, so it takes her about 2.5 hours, 3 hours now, but it used to take a lot longer. So
your mom and family members, you're pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they're at a lot of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they come to about every game they can. My mom, my sister, we're kind of like the Three Musketeers kind of. We always stuck real close, been through a lot, so it's really important to me to always appreciate them, and because they've always been there for me, so I try and give that back as much as I can.
All right. I'm sure everybody, it's a stinging loss to Lindenwood, but the bottom line is you control your destiny.
Yeah.
If you win your final 2 football games, and you'll be challenged. These are 2 good teams, especially Western Illinois' offense. Then you are conference champions, and it's playoff bound again for the Redhawks. What's the mood of Malai Walton and the Redhawks right now?
I'm obviously faithful. We have everything that we want still in front of us, so that's kind of been ever since the Lindenwood loss, me and the inside linebackers have been talking. We're just talking about we have everything that we want still in front of us, so we just have to attack it. We can't be scared to lose, can't be scared to mess up. We just got to go through and finish the season off and get what we want. So, how
tough is it to defend a dual threat quarterback like Nathan Lamb? This guy can run and throw. He's only Paxton DeLaurent accounts for more offensive yards per game than this guy that you'll see Saturday.
Yeah, it's obviously tough because you think you have one thing covered and then they'll just take off, or either or. So it's kind of hard to defend both at all times, but I'm pretty sure we'll have a very good plan to take care of that. So.
All right, and what will the emotions be? I guess you'll find out, but senior day, it's your last time suiting up for the Redhawks at Hawk Stadium.
It's going to be crazy.
Except for the playoff game. We're counting on a playoff game, so regular season.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, though, because this has flown by. It feels like I've been here for about 9 months. It's crazy because I still remember my freshman year coming in, talking to Coach Tuke about even coming here. So it's just crazy. It's going to be a blessing, though, to finish off my senior year and hopefully we do it the right way. So
he definitely fired a shot at you when he talked about head size.
Yeah.
Do we know what size hat you actually wear?
I don't think we know. I know Coach Blackman, if he was here, he'd be talking about it too, because he always gives me trouble about it. But
you told me you're not a hat guy.
I haven't worn a hat since baseball, so I always had the biggest baseball hat. I had to stretch it out a little bit. So
nothing wrong with that. Big hat, big head, big brain.
Big brain.
There you go. All right, top notch, strong or quite strong hair. Best of luck the rest of the year. Stay healthy. Thanks so much for squeezing us in today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Malai Walton. Coach Tom Tuke will rejoin us here. Quick word about Western Illinois when we come back. Redhawks Coaches Show is live from Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN. Final segment here on the Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. We'll be right back here next week. Don't forget, we've got basketball coming up. The Redhawk men have 2 games this week. They play Wednesday night at home at 6:30, and then they play Sunday as well at the Show Me Center. So we've got basketball and, of course, the final football game. Coach Tom Tuke, this is a really good offense that you're facing in Western Illinois. They're number 1 in the league in total offense. They are averaging 403 yards per game. You are number 2 at 392 yards of offense per game. So you know what's coming in here. A dual threat quarterback. They rack up a lot of yards. They rack up a lot of points. You're 2nd in the league in scoring offense. They're 3rd right behind you.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. Our defense has their work cut out for them. A good quarterback's just hard to beat, and so they're going to be in every game and have, and he's playing at a really high level. I think Coach has done a good job. So this head coach was the offensive coordinator last year at EIU and had a huge impact on that team last year. Their quarterback, Holly, had their best year and not doing as well this year, right? And so that coach moved on, is now the head coach at Western Illinois, and so offensively he's done a really, really nice job, and there's probably going to be some points in this game, and so we got to make sure that they earn every touchdown, make them go, 7, 8 plays. No big chunk yardage stuff is the biggest thing. And then at the end of the day, it's about pressure. This is probably the best quarterback we've played this year, and so you can't think about coverage. You got to think about pressure first. And so our guys up front have to do a good job. They've done it all year long, but they're going to have to be pretty relentless to affect him this week because he's mobile, big. Even if you get a hand on him, he's 15 pounds heavier than Norman. That, to put it in perspective.
Defensively is where they've struggled, Coach. They're last in the league in scoring defense. They're giving up 44 points per game. So there's an opportunity that we may see a few touchdowns on Saturday in this game.
And hopefully so. Hopefully this is kind of a breakout game for our offense after the last 3 weeks, that we can really kind of, put Lindenwood to bed and move forward and feel great about things. It starts up front. We got to execute. We got to go 5 for 5, whether it's pass protection or run game. They got to get their job done at a high level. That's going to make everybody else's job a lot easier. And so that's the focus this week.
So at least in games, your team has responded to adversity. They've responded to adversity with all of the injuries and the next man up mentality. How confident are you there will be a response to the performance against Lindenwood when the Leathernecks are here?
Very confident, or maybe I should say as confident as you can be anytime you're dealing with young people.
Right.
Young people are young people for a reason, and so, but I do believe in life lessons. That's one of the greatest things about my job is you get to connect life to football. And so it's fun when they need you. It's kind of like a parent, they're talking, but when they need you, it's a lot of fun. Our team needs our coaches this week, and we need to do a good job of helping these guys get through this. And, because we're ultimately going to tell a story here in a couple of weeks. So what story are we going to tell? Are we going to tell the story that we were rolling and got hung up by Lindenwood and that cost us a championship? Or are we going to say, we were rolling and had a tough loss and responded well and went, and dominated, performing well the next 2 weeks and won a championship? So what are we going to say? And I look forward to, helping them do what it takes to win a championship.
All right, you got to get back to us on Miss Lena's thoughts on the hair transfer thing here with.
Thing I've learned is you don't ask permission. If you ask permission, the answer is no. You got to just do it, and then if it's real bad, then you apologize and you move on from it. But try to let her just get away with it for a little bit. But I bet you that hair weighs 20 pounds.
Man, I'm telling you. And he said he's not a hat guy. I don't know if you could get a hat over that over his hair. Could you?
No, I don't think. I mean, he gets a helmet on there somehow. But he's a great kid, though. Like you probably felt that he is just a great teammate, man. Great family guy.
Malai Walton, we appreciate him, and we appreciate Coach Tuke, as always. Thanks for your time, Coach. We'll see you Saturday.
Yes, sir. Go Redhawks.
Right. That is Tom Matukowicz. Stay tuned. We'll get you back to regular programming here on SEMO ESPN. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings Etc.